Welcome to this class. My name is Mr. MACHARIA. During our last class, we talked about the sine and cosine. Our next class, we talk about we are looking about the last topic. Our learners, you can be able to recall, it was about the errors and approximation. So during the same class, we said we received some comment from the student who they have some of the inquiry about the topic of the today, that is the gradient and the equation of a straight line. So and the same we received two comments about the equation of the straight line and the gradient, and again we received another comment about the surds. So our next topic, it will be about the surds, but today we'll talk about the gradient and the equation of a straight line. Okay? Yeah, so the learners back at home, if you have any topic that you feel the topic that you feel that we need to tackle during our classes, just see the number below the screen and say those comments, and we'll make sure that topic is tackled during our classes. Okay? And again, if you have the question about this topic of today, just make sure that you set up an inquiry about the same. So welcome to today's class. The topic of today is the gradient. So gradient and equation of a straight line. So a student from the Machakos High said this inquiry to tackle this topic. Equation of a straight line. So about this topic, we have some subtopic that we need to know. One of the key things you have to know at the end of the topic, what is the gradient? You have to know at the end of the topic what is the gradient. Yeah, we need to know what is the gradient at the end of the topic. What is the gradient? The gradient, according to this topic, is the steepness or the slope of a given area. So that is the key definition of the gradient. So given a line, you can able to find the gradient of a line. If we assume this is a slope, maybe you are away from your shopping center to home, and this is the slope of that area maybe. So you can able to find the gradient of this area. So the gradient is the steepness of the slope of a given area. So that is the definition of the gradient. So at the end of the topic, the learner should be able to know what is the gradient. At the end of the topic, the learner should be able to know what is the gradient. So after having known what is the gradient, so given this is a line that A to B, and maybe you know the coordinates of this one, so that is x, y. The coordinates, maybe it is in the Cartesian plane. We can able to find the gradient of this line. And have we said that the gradient of a line, gradient is the steepness or the slope of a given area. We can able to know. So the gradient is given by difference in y over difference in x, which is always given by change of y over change of x. Over change of x. Yeah. So if given let us assume the coordinate is maybe 2, 0, and maybe this coordinate is 3, 1. We can able to find the coordinates of this line AB. So we have said the coordinate, the gradient of this line is given by difference in y divided by the difference in x, which is also we can say that it is the change of y over change of x. So in our case here, we have the change of y. Change of the y is 3 minus 2 divided by 1 minus 0, which is equals to 1 over 1. So our gradient of this line AB is equals to 1. So the gradient of a line is the difference in y divided by the difference in x, which is also denoted by change of y divided by the change of x. So let us continue doing more example. So let's have this Cartesian plane here. This is y-axis and this is x-axis. So maybe have this line, that is maybe line AB. We want to find the gradient of that line. We have said the gradient of the definition of the gradient of a line is the steepness of the slope of a given area. So we want to find the steepness of this line. Having the note these coordinates, maybe this is 0.00, maybe this is 2.2 in y-axis, maybe this is -2, and maybe this point it is 4. We can able to find the gradient of that line. So we have said the gradient of a line is equals to difference in y divided by the difference in x. So having known that, all which can be noted by change of y divided by the change of x, which is equals to change of y in our line here AB. So this point is x is -2, y is 0. So this is point -2, 0. This is point 0, -0, 2, and this is point is maybe have this one is 4. So this point is 4, 4. You can use either of these 3 points to find the gradient of that line. So let us use these two. So change of y have these 2 points, 0, 2 and point 4, 4. Change of y of that point, it will be difference in y from this point, difference in y from this point to here, that's the change of y, over change of x from this point to here, which can be noted by change of y over change of x. So that is 4 minus 2 divided by 4 minus 0, which is equals to 2 divided by 4. So our gradient is equals to a half. Our gradient is equals to a half. So let's do another example before we go to another subtopic of the today. Given that line, a straight line, line AB, on a Cartesian plane, this line is the x-axis. This line, point AB. We want to find the slope of this point. And I said the definition of the gradient is the steepness of the scope of a given area. This line is just a straight line, where x is equals to 0, and we know this point, and y is equals to 0. So the gradient of this line automatically to be 0. There's no change of y here. So because I've said the gradient is equals to difference in y divided by the difference in x. Our x here now it is 0. So any number divided by 0 is equal to 0. So the gradient of this line is equal to 0. So we can able to define what is a gradient. We can able to find a gradient of a given line in a Cartesian plane. Now let us continue to the next step of finding the equation of a line, of a straight line. So given line AB, allow me to use the same line, And you know this coordinate maybe is 4, 4. Use the previous what you had, and 0, 2. Want to find, maybe it is in a Cartesian plane. Want to find the equation of that line. So equation of a line is given by y is equals to mx plus c. But before we come to that one, let's find the equation of a line. So equation of a line, we have to know the gradient. First steps to know. One is to find the gradient of a line. Before you go to the next step. First step is to find the gradient of a line. Gradient of a line, you have said gradient is equals to change of y over change of x, which is equals to difference in y divided by the difference in x. Which is equals to 4 minus 2 divided by 4 minus 0, which equals to 2 over 4. You simplify, is equals to a half. So the gradient of this line is equals to a half. Having known the gradient, you can assume any other point P to be xy. So our gradient is equals to a half. Let us not forget that. And have this point. So let me transfer the same here. AB. The gradient of our line is equals to a half, 0.02 and 0.44. Having known that, then we know that another point P there, xy. So we let another point, any point of this line, to be xy, because all the coordinates of this line can be known. So we take y and any point minus 2 over x minus 0 to be equals to a half. Then you cross multiply this one. This to be 2 multiplied by y minus 2 is equals to 1 multiplied by x minus 0. This will be 2y minus 4 is equals to x. 1 multiplied by 0 to be 0. So we take these to the other side. We take them the other side. So we take the 4 the other side, sorry. So you'll have 2y is equals to x plus 4. We divide by 2. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. So y is equals to x divided by 2 plus 4 divided by 2, it is 2. So equation of this line AB is equals to y is equals to x divided by 2 plus 2. That is the equation of our line. So before you go to the next one, you go to our next example on the same. Given this is a Cartesian plane, this is y-axis and this is x-axis. So we have this line AB, this point 2, this is point 4, this is point 4, and this point negative 2. So we can able to label the coordinate of this point. This point is 0.44. This point is 0.02, and this point is -2, 0. Want to find the equation of that line? We have said the step to follow to find the equation of a straight line. First is to find the gradient of a line. So the gradient of a line is equals to change of y over change of x. So hope we are together up to there, students back at home. If you have any inquiry, just send the comments and we'll tackle them before the end of the class. So we want to find the equation of this line AB, as our second example. So this one is equals to change of y over change of x, which I said can be so denoted by difference in x divided by the difference in y divided by difference in x. So we take any 2 points and find the equation of our line. Let's just take these two. That is -2, 0, and 0, 2. I want to use these 2 points to find the gradient of that line. So this one is equals to, this is x, this is y, this is x, this is y. Change of y, so you take 2 minus 0, we take this one, 2 minus 0, and 0 minus 2, which these are automatically negative multiplied by negative to be positive. So this one changes to be positive. This one will be 2, 0 plus 2, it is 2. So our gradient is equals to 1. Having known the gradient, the second step now is to take any point of this line to be point P, to be xy. You take this unknown point of this line AB and any known point of this line, maybe 0, -2, 0, or 0, 2, or 0.44, and you use this unknown point with unknown point with known point to find the equation of a line. Allow me to use this just to do it here. So the point that is xy and a point known that is b, which is 4, 4. We can able to find the equation of that line having known the gradient. Because we know our gradient is equals to 1, the equation of this line is equals to, you take this change of y, the same thing, y minus 4 divided by x minus 4 is equals to our gradient, which is equals to 1. So hope we are together up to there. You take the point which is unknown with unknown point, then you still use the same concept. Change of y over change of x is equals to our gradient, which is still known now. Then after there, you cross multiply. So just assume it's over 1, cross multiply. This will be 1 divided by 1 multiplied by y minus 4 is equals to 1 multiplied by x minus 4. Open the bracket. So y is minus 4 is equals to x minus 4. We want to make the y the subject of the formula. So we take the 4 the other side. Y is equals to x minus 4 plus 4. So minus 4 plus 4 it will be 0. So our line is equals to y is equals to x. Y is equals to x. And you know that line how it passes. So I've just assumed this one. So because we know the y is equals to x is that line there. So that's how to find the equation of a straight line. Let us now come to the how the equation of the general formula of equation of a straight line. Equation of a straight line is equals to y is equals to mx plus c. I want to come to our third topic here. So the first thing you have to know is to define the gradient. The second concept that you need to understand on this topic is how to find the equation of a straight line. And the third concept how to interpolate the general formula of an equation of a straight line. So y here, this one starts for the y-intercept. M stands for the gradient. And these two, they are variables. They can change. So let's have another example. So given y, like our equation y is equals to 2x plus 1. That means when you draw a Cartesian plane here, this is y axis, this is x axis. The point where the line cut its y-axis is point 1. Here. 1. That is x is equals to 0, y is equals to 1. Because C1 started for the y-intercept, where the line cut is the y-axis. 2 started for the gradient of this line. The gradient of this line is equals to 2. So the general formula for equation of a straight line is y is equals to mx plus c. So let us use the, having this knowledge in our mind now, let us do another example and able to know where the meaning of our c there, which is the y-intercept, and how we can able to find the gradient. We can able to identify the gradient given the equation. So given this is a Cartesian plane, we have this line AB. This is point 3. So this is 3, 0, 3. This is point 2, 2. Yeah, we want to find the equation of that line. So the steps follows. First is find the gradient. The gradient of a line you have said is the change of y divided by the change of x, which is very simple. I know by now you have the concept with you. So this is equals to change of y, so 3 minus 2 divided by 0 minus 2, which is equals to 1 divided by negative 2. So gradient is equals to a negative half of that line. So we said to find the equation of a straight line, you just take any point which is unknown in that Cartesian plane, you put it to be xy, point P. So the equation of a straight line now, given having known point P is xy, with any other point which is known, which is 0, 3, we can able to find the equation of this line. So equation of a line is now y minus 3 x minus 0 is equals to negative half. Up to there, hope you are together. So you cross multiply this. 2 multiply by y minus 3 and negative 1 multiply by x minus 0. Allow me to do this here. So it will be 2 y minus 3 is equals to negative 1 multiplied by x minus 0. So this, open the bracket, this will be 2y, this will be 6 is equals to minus x plus 0, which you can just assume because 0. Yeah, so you just take to make the y the subject of the formula, you take the 6 the other side. So this will be 2y is equals to minus x plus 6. 0 plus 6 is 6. So make the y the subject of the formula, divided by 2, divided by 2, divided by 2. So our y is equals to half x plus 3. Having known the general formula of equation of a straight line, which is y is equals to mx plus c, you can still come here and know that where the line cut is the y-axis is point 3. So point C represents where the line cut is the y-intercept, where M represents the gradient of the line, which is negative half. So having given the equation of a straight line, you can able to interpret the equation and able to answer any question given there. So our equation for this line is equals to y is equals to half x plus 3. You can able to interpret that 3 is where the line cuts the x-intercept, and half is the steepness or the gradient of our line. How can we find, now given the equation of a line, I want us to use the same equation. How can we find the x-intercept where the line cutted the x-axis? Let us use the same equation there. Y is equals to half x plus 3. So given that in exam, we are told to find the x-intercept of that line in the Cartesian plane. So we find the x-intercept when y is equals to 0. When y is equals to 0. So we just equate 0 is equals to half x plus 3, which is negative. So you take this the other side, this one will be half x plus is equals to 3. So cross multiply by 2. So the x-intercept of that line is equals to 6. 2 times 3. So given the equation of a line, we can able to know what is the y-intercept and what is the x-intercept. Where the line cutted the y-axis and where the line cutted the x-axis. Having known that concept, we can proceed to one extra example before we go to the second. Given the line, so you can open with me that is the KLB mathematics topic 4 there about the equation, the gradient of the equation of a line. Let us do this, the last KCSE question that have been tested in our previous exams. So you are given the point. Yeah, let me do this one. Given the point Q is -4, 1, and point Q is 2, 1. We want to find the equation, the gradient and the equation of that line. So the gradient, we say the change of y over change of x. So change of y, you can start from either. Let us start from this one. Change of y is 1 minus 1, which would be 0. So this want to be logic. Let this be 4. Yeah. So 1 minus 4 divided by minus 4 minus 2. This is minus 3 over minus 6. Those two negative cancels out. Then our gradient is half. Yeah, it is -2, 1, and 2, 4. So we can able to find the equation of this line. Equation, we said we let any other point, maybe point A, to be x, y. So you just take this point and any known point to find the equation over that line. That is line PQ. So change of y over change of x is equals to 4 minus y. No, it's not like that, sorry. Is y minus 4 and x minus 2 is equals to a half. You cross multiply this to be 2 multiplied by y minus 4, yeah, is equals to 1 multiplied by x minus 2. This to be 2y minus 8 is equals to x multiplied by -2. You take the, allow me to this point, you take to make the y the subject of the formula, it will be 2y. You take the 8 to the other side. It is equals to 2y is equals to x minus 2 plus 8. minus 2 plus 8, that is 6. 2y is equals to x plus 6. You divide both sides by 2. So our equation for that line is x divided by 2 plus 3. So the equation for that line, that is line PQ, is equals to y half x plus 3. We can able to interpret this equation where we know that 3 is where the line cutted the y intercept and our gradient is a half. Having known that, we go to the fourth concept of this topic, how to find the given the equation of a line. Allow me to the previous equation, that is y is equals to half x plus 3 and a given point there, 3, point P. I want to find if those two lines, they are perpendicular line. This is the point of a given line and this is the equation of a straight line. I want to go to another concept now to confirm how to do the perpendicular lines and parallel lines. That is our fourth concept there. So we know that we start with the perpendicular lines, the line that meet at 90 degrees. If this line AB and line MN, do these two lines AB and MN meet at 90 degrees, or are they perpendicular lines? We know that one of the concepts you have to know for this one, that the gradient for line AB and the gradient for line MN must be equal. When you multiply those gradient of line 1 multiplied by gradient of line 2 must be equal to -1. So allow me to separate this one, choose this space. So the gradient for line 1, M1, is equals to a half. But M2 we don't know. But you know the concept that the gradient of two lines that meet at 90 degrees at any given point, their product is equals to -1. Having known this concept, I can able to say that M1 multiplied by M2 is equals to -1. But I know M1 is equals to a half. Multiplied by M2, they must give me -1. So let us find a known, which is M2. A half M2 is equals to -1. Multiply both sides by 2. So M2 is equals to -2. So the gradient of this line P is equals to M2. Now I can able to find the equation of this line. So having known the gradient, the equation is equals to change of y over change of x, which is equals to, we take any other point of P to be xy. Now this one to be y minus 2 over x minus 3 is equal to a gradient of that line, because now it is known, -2. So let us take it to the other side. Y minus 2 over x minus 3 is equals to -2. So cross multiply this one. So to be 1 multiplied by y is equals to -2 multiplied by x minus 3. Open the bracket. 1 multiplied by y is equals to y. So 1 multiplied by -2, it is 2. Minus 2 multiplied by x, -2x. -2 multiplied by -3, +6. So you make the y the subject of the formula, because we know the general equation of a line. So you take the to the other side. Y is equals to -2x plus 8. So the line P, we can able to know that the line P it cut the Cartesian plane at point 8 there, y is equals to 8, and still you can able to know the x-intercept of that line. So for the perpendicular lines, this is what is commonly tested. You have to know that two lines that meet at 90 degrees, the gradient of those two lines is equal to -1. So let us do another example. To find the equation of the line which passes through point P. Point P is 3, 7, and point Q, which is 6, 1. Yeah. First, you can able to find the equation of this line, and they meet. So the whole question will lead like this. Find the equation of the line P. Find the equation of the line which passes the point P, that is 3, 7, at point Q, 6, 1, and meet line M at 90 degrees, which point M is given to be 1, 2. We can able to find the equation of this line. Having this known that this line meet this line at 90 degrees or at perpendicular way, so equation of this line is equals to change of y over change of x. So we say that is 7 minus 1 divided by 3 minus 6. You want to be 6. You want to be -3. So divide by 2, this one to be -2. The equation of this line is -2. And we said the line that meet at 90 degrees, the product of those two lines, the gradient is equal to -1. So we come here, that is m1 multiplied by m2 is equal to -1. I already know what is m1, which is -2. Multiplied by m2, which I don't know, is equal to -1. I can able to find m2. So -2 m2 is equal to -1. Make the m2 the subject of the formula. So divided by 2, -2 divided by -2. So m2 is equals to, so the negative cancels out. So the m2 is equals to 1/2. Having known the gradient of line 2 and the one of the point of line M is known, we can able to find the equation of this line. Allow me to transfer to the other point. The gradient of line M is 1/2, and one of the points known of line M is 1, 2. So I can take another point which is unknown to be x, y. I can able to find that equation of a line. The same concept applies. Change of y over change of x, which is equals to y minus 2 of x minus 1 is equals to 1/2. Then you cross multiply that one to be 2 multiplied by y minus 2 is equals to 1 multiplied by x minus 1. This be 2y minus 4 is equals to x minus 1. Make the y the subject of the formula because you know the general formation of the equation of a line. So 2y, you take the other side, is equals to x minus 1 plus 4. Minus 1 plus 4, that is plus 3. So 2y is equals to x plus 3. Make the y the subject of the formula, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. So that means our equation for that line M is equals to 1/2 x plus 3. So the concept here for this about the two lines that meet at 90 degrees is that their gradient, the product of their gradient is equals to -1. That concept you have to know it, and you have to know it at the back of your mind. So we go 3/2, yeah, 3/2. So where we say this, the general formula for this one is mx plus c, where c is the y-intercept, where 1/2 is the gradient, and these two x and y, they are variables, they can change. Having known that, let's go to our final concept of this topic. Given that we have two lines in the Cartesian plane, that is y axis and x axis. We are given these two lines here. That is line AB and line maybe C. And you know this, maybe you assume this is point -1, 0, and then maybe -2, 0. Now this point is maybe is 0, 1, and this is 0, 2. We want to find given that the two lines are parallel, how can we find the gradient? What is the relation between the gradient of two lines that they are parallel to each other? We want to have that concept in the mind. So we want to find the equation of this line, equation of this line, and have that concept. So that what is there, that for the parallel lines, M1 is equals to M2. The gradient of these two lines must be equal. So for perpendicular, the product of M1 multiplied by M2 is equals to -1. So this is a concept I have to take home today. That the two lines that they are parallel to each other, the M1 and M2, they are the same. But the lines that meet at the 90 degrees, their product of the gradient is equals to -1. So having given the equation of any line, maybe equation of a line maybe y is equals to 2x plus 1, and you're given another line AB where A is equals to 0, 2 and B is equals to 4, 4. We want to find just given one point like this. Can able to find the equation of this line AB. Line AB. Having given that these two line AB and this line PQ, they are parallel to each other. We have said the gradient of M1 multiplied by the gradient of M1 is equals to gradient of M2. We know the gradient, the general formula for the equation of a straight line is mx plus c. And we know m represents the gradient. And if we can substitute here, our m is equal to 2. So our m1 is equal to 2, and automatically know that our m2 is equal to 2. We can able to know the equation of this line having given only the point A, which is 2, 0. Allow me to use this space, yeah. So it will be like this. So having known the gradient is equals to 2, and the point A is given is 0, 2. We can able to know the equation of that line. So we said just to mark any point of that line, to build that line to be P of unknown points of that given line. So, and we said to get the equation of a line is the change of y over change of x is equal to the gradient. So y minus 2 divided by x minus 0 is equals to our gradient, which is equals to 2. So having known that the gradient of two lines that are parallel to each other, the gradient they are the same, you just come and the same concept applies here. You just multiply out. This one to be 1 multiplied by y minus 2 is equals to 2 multiplied by x minus 0. This to be y minus 2 is equals to 2x. 2 multiplied by 0 is 0. So make the y the subject of the formula. So y is equals to 2x plus 2. So these two lines, they have the same gradient. That is line AB, our line PQ. Because the gradient of two lines that are parallel to each other, the gradient is equals to the same. So M1 is equals to M2. So the concept you have to take today home is now to what is the gradient, to know how to find the equation of a straight line, to know how to interpret the equation of a straight line, that is y is equals to mx plus c, and to know how to solve the equation of line given that those two lines they are meet at perpendicular at that 90 degrees, or they are perpendicular to each other, and to know how to operate a question given that those two lines they are parallel to each other. So let us do our last example of today. So the equation of a line given by, so that this was there, open your made familiar, it was there in 2015. Equation of a line is given by 5 over x plus 3y is equals to 6. Our last example, find the gradient. The first question there was find the gradient of that line. So you have to know the general formula for the equation of a straight line. We said mx plus c. Having known that, you just make the y the subject of the formula for the equation given there. So a fifth x plus the third y is equal to 6. You take the other side. You want to be 3y is equals to 6 plus 3 over 5x. We want to make the y the subject of the formula, but we know the equation, our x must be the first one. So we just rewrite this one to be 3y is equals to 3 over 5x plus 6. You multiply through by 3 to make the y the subject of the formula. So divide by 3, you divide by 3. So y is equals to that x divided by 3 plus 3. So this one, it will be, just do it somewhere different. That divided by 3 to be the same, that find the reciprocal to be that multiplied by that, you get is equals to a fifth. So our y is equals to a fifth x plus 3. So our gradient for that line is equals to, and we know the general equation for the formula is y is equals to mx plus c, and our m represents the gradient. So our gradient is equals to a fifth. Then the second question that was there, the equation of a line passes through the point. This line passes through the point, that point 1, 2, and perpendicular to the line given, this one. So find the equation of this line, that is line P, that they meet on 90 degrees. The equation of this line is perpendicular to this one that passes on this point P. That is very simple. Having known that the gradient of these two lines, the product of gradient is equals to -1. You just come, allow me to transfer this one. So these are, so the general formula of equation is this one, that is y is equals to a fifth x plus 3. Another point is 1, 2. These two lines, they meet at 90 degrees, or they are perpendicular to each other. So that we know that the m1 multiplied by m2 is equals to -1. Our m1 is equals to, substitute this one, m1 is equals to a fifth multiplied by m2, you must get -1. So a fifth m2 is equals to -1. Multiply both sides by 5, multiply both sides by 5. So our m2 is equals to a -5. So having known the gradient of this line, I can able to find the equation of this line. Allow me to do it here. You let any other point to be xy. and you know the gradient is equals to -5. So the equation of a line is a change of y over change of x. So very simple here, just come and substitute. That is y minus 2. You take this point, the unknown point. Substitute out x minus 1 is equals to -5. Cross multiply this one like that. So x -5 multiplied by x minus 1 is equals to 1 multiplied by 1 minus 2. So this will be -5x plus 1 is equals to y minus 2. So the equation for this one, allow me to transfer this one, that is 5x plus no I just forgotten what is there. So 5x plus 1 is equals to y minus 2, like that. I want to make the equation, make the y the subject of the formula, so take the other side. So y is equals to, this is the other side, y is equals to 5x plus 1 plus 2. So y is equals to minus 5x plus 3. That's the equation of that line. So the concept is now at home, that the topic about the gradient and equation of a straight line, you have to know how to define the equation of a straight line, how to interpret the general formula for equation of a straight line, how to find the equation of a line given 2 points, and finally how to the correlation between the gradient of a two lines that meet at 90 degrees or they are perpendicular to each other, and the correlation between the gradient of a line that are parallel to each other. Having known that, those 5 concepts, you are good to tackle in any question of that topic. So let us meet on our next class. That will be on our next week on Tuesday, and we'll tackle those topics that you have said that you want us to tackle together. Yeah. So have a nice time and have a nice week and stay safe at home. Thank you.